We're going to continue with our layout process. What we need to do now is that there's a big section right here that has these two elements in it. What we can do is we can create a placeholder container or like a holding container that's like about, that takes up about this much space. And that container will be invisible, but it will hold this section on the left and then another large section on the right. So when you're laying out web pages, sometimes you're thinking about large sections first, and then you put the smaller sections inside of the large sections. So the main container that holds this top menu bar is called container. So that container here, we're going to make that a display of Flex. And we're going to make the Flex direction a row, column, because it's going down. So it's a column because the first thing that's in it is this menu bar, and the next thing down will be the big row, the big container. And that other container here, so you see that this is the big container, and then there's a title, and then we can do div class equals, we'll just call this contents. And our contents would be this width 95%, background color is just random color, and a min height of 300 pixels. So when we refresh it, we get this. Now it's almost okay, but we need to have some flex. We need to tell the big container to align our items the way we want them. So since the flex direction is column, the central axis is column going down. The perpendicular axis, line items, is going across. So this will align everything across, should at least. All right, and it does that. The only issue now is that this one here is no longer full width, and that's our title. So we can go back to our title here. And we can make this one have a width of inherit. And this should inherit its parent, and it does. So the next thing we want to do is that white container, that's basically what's going to contain everything. Inside of that, we're going to have two boxes that go inside of it. Now, I want to make this min height of 500 pixels because it should be bigger. This is like a big container. It's going outside of the realm of where the height that needs to be. So we'll just make this 350. And a lot of this is playing around with stuff. The CSS, it just takes a lot of time to get used to playing around with layout. But yeah, okay, so that is okay. And so inside of the content, we're gonna have two boxes. And these divs, this could be class equals left content. And, you're really supposed to be consistent about whether you use dashes or underscores. I think I've used underscores in my other class. Yeah, so usually I use dashes, but I just, more than anything else, I like to be consistent. So then div class equals right contents. So content here, this is also display flex. In this flex direction is row. And then align or justify content. We think could be space. What do we want? Maybe space between. And then our content, any div inside of our content will have a min height of 200 pixels. background color, white to start off with. No, we won't be able to see it when we're. A lot of times I'll just use any kind of color. Um, just to block things out at first. All right. So our content has two divs in it, left content and right content. So this is the right content, left content. All right. So you see those two boxes, how they're showing up? They're showing up when, with spacing between them. So the any div inside of content, we want the height. Let's look at our mockup. Let's give it a fixed height for now. So instead of a min height, let's just do a height of 300 pixels. Is that too big? No, that's good. And let's give it a margin, actually probably a little less than that. We'll do the align items at center, line on the other axis. So they're like that. And then we'll give them a width. Actually, let's do a margin of 20 pixels for each. It takes them away from the edges. And then let's give it a width of 400 pixels. Do we even have that much space? I think we might. We do. All right. Okay, so we got our left content and our right content. And you notice we didn't even really need to use classes on these. And the reason that we didn't need, I put them there, but we didn't really need to use them because I just did, this will give you the style for any div inside of content. So now we could make this the direct child. This way, if there's other divs inside, that they won't be affected. So it'd only be the direct children. I think that's the direct children. So direct child CSS. Let's just double check that. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay, so now we can start putting our other content inside of these boxes. So the first thing that we can do is get an image. And so what are our menu? What are our foods? We've got changu fish, ugali, goosey soup, eba, mesirwad, and gomen. So let's look for changu fish. These pictures are nice, but let's look for something else. What about the mesirwad? We need something to take up this space here. It needs to be big enough that it can kind of scale. This might work. Let's save it as method one like that. So what we want to do is we have method.jpg. So this one we actually could use a class. So let's say class equals left content. We'll put that back in there so we can put a background image on it. And left content, background image, method.jpg. All right, so the background image is there, but it's taking up too much space. I mean, it's not resizing it. So we'll say background size, contain. This will contain the image, but one of the things that you see it's repeating. So we can say background, repeat, no repeat. And then instead of contain, we could do this as cover. It's okay, but there's this black, we could say background position. Top. No, it's already the top. Let's say bottom or middle. Is there a middle? Center. There we go. That's better. Yeah, and if it rescales a little bit, that's actually fine. Okay. All right. So we've got our image, and let's put something on this other side here. So what goes in there is the stuff that we commented out. So we want this to be all in here. Take that out. Cut. Control X or Command X. And then the left that stuff probably goes in the left content. Doesn't it all go in the? Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, the way it did these. I labeled these wrong. This is left content and this is right content. But you can take those out now. Refresh. Now we've got a place delete, select a dish, etc. So we're getting there. I still might change out the image for something else, but so far it looks pretty decent. Okay, so let's do with our right content. Yeah. So we'll still use the class, but I wanted to show you that there's some styling you can do by just using CSS selectors that show like children and different hierarchical relationships between the classes. So we've got a right content class now, and it has to be flex as well, and then we'll flex according to column and we'll center everything. So in our right content, very much similar to what we've done up to this point. Display flex, flex direction, column, align items, center, and justify content, center. So center everything and align everything. There we go. Place to eat. Select a dish. Changu fish. Add to cart. Add to cart. Add to cart. Add to cart. Okay. Getting there. Now, a place to eat. Is that even in our wireframe? Oh, place to order. Ah, okay. So the description, class equals description. Do we have any description? Instead of justify content center, let's justify content and flex start because we want the top to be flex to the top. Background color gold. See what this looks like. Yeah. And then width inherit and display. This will be a display flex as well. And then we want to specify content to center and also align items to center. So you see a lot of these same commands we're using, right? And then so our description, instead of a place to eat, it just needs to be place your order. This was set with HTML. And you know me, like I don't even think that this should be in JavaScript. I think place your order. I don't think that JavaScript should say this anymore. I think this should be hard coded in the description. So we're just going to put place your order here. It just makes it easier for when people are looking at our CSS and our HTML to see what's going on here. So save this to place your order. All right. Okay, it's getting there. Our title has RGB. This was the, so I think our description, the background color could be the same color here, this RGB. And then the color could be white so that we can see it a little better. Color gold, actually. And then all right. All right, actually, it's actually 2 o'clock my time. I need to stop this video. We'll do, we're making good progress. I need to make a quick phone call because I have a meeting now. We will stop this video now and then we'll just finish the rest of this, which is just a few more styles in a few minutes. So I'll see you in a few.